Hola, buenas tardes. Todavía vamos un poco retrasados porque la sesión no ha terminado. Solo pedimos para aguardar un poco porque las delegaciones todavía siguen en la sala A. Gracias.
Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2.
Buenas tardes. Buenas tardes. Solo para recordarles que las sillas al frente son para las delegaciones y ministros de países. Muchas gracias. Ahora sí.
Cinco minutos. Hola. Trabajando para el doctor. Buenas tardes. So, seguir el programa. Yeah. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Hello, hello. Can I hear it? Good afternoon. Buenas tardes. Can I please ask you to take your seats? Main rows for the delegates and jefes, chief of delegations. Más. I'm going to eat it. So that's my sandwich. Okay. If we can all sit so we get started, because the timing of the director is limited and we wanted to take advantage of him here. So thank you all for coming. I'm going to start. My name is Marcos Espinal. I'm the Assistant Director of PAHO, and I'm going to be your moderator. I'm going to be strict with timing, and so we are all able to take the program on board. We have an exciting program today, and hopefully you enjoy and you also are able to contribute. Is that okay? Is there translation? No? It's working? Okay. So the session today, it's titled Ending Communicable Diseases in the Americas, Accelerating the Elimination Initiative. This initiative started in 2019 with the approval by the Directing Council of the Pan American Health Organization of a policy for an integrated and sustainable approach to communicable diseases in the Americas. It was known as Elimination Initiative. But as you know, COVID-19 pandemic really changed everything, and many of our priority programs and many of diseases that were under control went backwards and went really suffer a lot, and they needed to be relying in not only in solidarity and Pan-Americanism, but also in sisters and brothers programs and so on. And the devastation caused by the COVID pandemic really set backwards some of the hopefully Millennium Development Goals to achieve, and many of these diseases needed to be prioritized. So the new administration of Dr. Barbosa has decided to reposition and relaunch the Elimination Initiative, and this is what you're going to be able to see today. La sesión cuenta, paso a español ahora, la sesión, ustedes tienen el programa, hopefully you can see it also, lo ven en las pantallas, y cuenta con las palabras iniciales del director. Luego tenemos un video, luego una presentación del doctor Massimo Guidinelli, our senior consultant que está trabajando en eliminación. Y luego tenemos un panel ministerial con los honorables ministros de Antigua y Barbuda, de Uruguay, la señora ministra, y la representante del programa de control de tuberculosis, en representación de la honorable ministra de Brasil, la doctora Anicia Trindade, quien lamentablemente no puede estar con nosotros hoy. Y luego tendremos una presentación de nuestros Regional Revolving Funds, los fondos regionales, por el doctor Santiago Cornejo. Entonces, sin más preámbulos, bienvenidos todos. Es un placer tenerles, disfruten el almuerzo y voy a dar la palabra para empezar agradeciendo a todos su presencia al doctor Barbosa para sus palabras iniciales. Doctor Barbosa.
Gracias, Marcos. Good afternoon. Welcome to this briefing session on the Elimination Initiative. Upon my election as Power Director, I committed to pursue 5 priorities to achieve my vision of advancing towards universal health in the Americas, including an uncompromised support to the Disease Elimination Initiative, which was launched in 2019, but shortly thereafter was heavily impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. I am convinced that the region of the Americas is in a unique position to take the response to eliminating communicable diseases and related conditions to a new high, and that includes the elimination of as many as 30 of them by 2030. As we gather today to celebrate the reposition of the Elimination Initiative in the post-pandemic phase, I'd like to share with you 3 solid arguments that corroborate the attainability of the elimination goal. The antecedents of the region in dealing with communicable diseases and the rich primary of achievements indicate that member states have both the capacity and the experience to achieve such an ambitious goal. The documented ability of our health systems to rapidly seize and integrate the opportunities provided by strategic innovations and technological advances. And the lessons learned throughout the pandemic response to and the focus on building resilient health systems of the post-pandemic phase are converging in this direction. As we move forward in the pandemic recovery, it's time to give the Elimination Initiative a renewed, stronger, and more mature push to complete a goal on communicable diseases that started right at the establishment of the organization 120 years ago. The know-how from previous experiences in eliminating communicable diseases, the robust armamentarium of vaccines, diagnosis, medicines, and other technologies available, and new ones soon to be ready for deployment, through the regional revolving funds, the deep understanding of health inequities and the clarity to focus on populations in situations of vulnerability, as experienced during the pandemic, have led the repositioning of the Elimination Initiative with its new 30-plus visual identity. The Elimination Initiative holds the potential of a key driver to health system strengthening and resilience, as well as to pandemic preparedness. It's time to take to fruition the efforts and the investment of the last decades on disease control programs. Let's raise the bar and set the ambitious goals and objectives of disease elimination for the entire region of the Americas. At the same time, I would like to emphasize that achieving such an extraordinary public good requires serious efforts in addressing health inequities and focusing actions on populations in situations of vulnerability. Our vision, is not taking shape in isolation. Many encouraging signs in global health and partnership building are pointing in our direction. In today's brief session, we will hear how the region is reshaping its public health horizon, and I'd like to welcome and thank the Honorable Ministers of Antigua and Barbuda, Belize, Brazil, and Uruguay for their leadership and for sharing with us their perspectives and experiences. I would also like to recognize the presence of key partners with whom PAHO is forging strategic alliances towards the common goal of disease elimination, namely Philippe Doneton, UNITAID Executive Director, and the President of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Gargi Ghosh. Thanks for being with us and for committing your vital support to the region. To sustain the vision behind the 5 priorities of my mandate, I have restructured PAHO to make the organization fit for the challenges ahead. The social and environment determinants for health equity is a new department to drive action on social and environmental determinants of health, on inequities and population in situations of vulnerability. The innovation, access to medicines and health technologies is a new department to accelerate the introduction of new medicines, diagnostics, and other tools in support of elimination efforts. There is an imperative need to introduce multi-platform diagnostics and other new tools that are coming out quickly, in particular at the point of care. The strategic and revolving funds are now fully integrated to be more responsive to the needs and necessities of our member states in accessing vaccines and strategic health commodities. The Department of Health Systems and Services is refocused on its core functions on primary health care and the quest for resilient and sustainable health systems. And finally, the Department of Communicable Diseases that I led some years ago is now fully dedicated to the elimination of communicable diseases. The last step to successfully complete the reposition of the elimination initiative is to seek your commitment to engage in this new undertaking, one that, together with the other priority cooperative initiative on integrating non-communicable diseases into primary health care, could profoundly reorient national health plans along new and sustainable perspectives. Let me thank you all for joining us today, and I am confident that the program of this briefing session will prove both inspirational and stimulating. Thank you all. Let's have a very good technical briefing.
It's a new technology, yeah. So, muchas gracias, doctor Barbosa. Dos cosas antes de continuar. Todavía quedan espacio para los jefes de delegaciones en la mesa principal. No tienen nombres de países para poder facilitar que pudieran escoger el mejor lugar que escogieran. Agradecemos también la presencia de socios importantes de la Iniciativa de Eliminación, como son el Task Force for Global Health, UNITAID, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation y otros socios que se encuentran en la sala. Muchas gracias. Y bueno, vamos a ver ahora un video sobre la Iniciativa de Eliminación, que creo está listo. Please, let's have the video. Thank you.
Hay mucho por ver aquí. Se ha trabajado mucho por generar un impulso en el incremento de la calidad de vida de las personas.
En un mundo con menos enfermedades transmisibles, más personas tienen la oportunidad de construir vidas mejores, más saludables y seguras. Pero el impulso no puede detenerse aquí.
La pandemia de COVID-19 nos ha demostrado que mientras las enfermedades transmisibles sigan propagándose, nuestra calidad de vida está en peligro. Todos estamos en riesgo hasta que estemos seguros.
Por eso, la Iniciativa de Eliminación de la OPS se ha propuesto eliminar más de 30 enfermedades transmisibles y afecciones relacionadas para el 2030.
Para lograrlo, debemos asegurarnos de que todos en las Américas tengan acceso a vacunas y atención médica de calidad, que incluya diagnóstico y tratamiento oportunos, instalaciones de higiene, agua y saneamiento.
Esto no es un sueño, es un derecho y una responsabilidad de todos. Todos deberíamos tener igualdad de oportunidades para disfrutar de una vida saludable y plena. Hay mucho por ver aquí. Trabajemos juntos por un futuro libre de enfermedades para todos.
Thank you. You know, Dr. Barbosa set the tone, so now let's hear the nitty-gritties or the details of the elimination initiative that will be delivered by Dr. Massimo Ghidinelli, former director of the Communicable Diseases Department also, and now a consultant fully dedicated to elimination. Massimo, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. Buenas tardes a todas y todos. Tengo la presentación, pero era para empezar un poco a ubicar de una manera histórica el camino de la eliminación de enfermedades transmisibles en la región de las Américas. Se puede poner su principio hace unos 120 años con la fundación de esta Agencia de Salud Pública y una de las funciones principales en su establecimiento justamente fue la lucha contra dos enfermedades prevalentes en la época, la fiebre amarilla y la malaria, sobre todo en la zona de construcción del Canal de Panamá. Entonces, a lo largo de los años y de las décadas, la región de las Américas se ha realmente distinguido por dos razones. La primera es que siempre ha tenido una postura, como en la palabra de muchos expertos, como un laboratorio vivente, un laboratorio muy activo de experimentación e innovación en la lucha a las enfermedades transmisibles, lo que ha comportado una construcción de un palmarés muy rico, con muchísimos logros y muchos éxitos, lo que ha puesto a la región de las Américas en una posición de liderazgo en este camino hacia la eliminación. El doctor Espinal ya recordó los documentos que se aprobaron en 2019 en el Consejo Directivo, que implicaron un compromiso de los países miembros para introducir el tema de eliminación en su planificación sanitaria y también pidiendo a la OPS que continuara la implementación de la iniciativa y brindando cooperación técnica. También nos recordó que a los algunos meses de la aprobación de la resolución llegó la pandemia con su impacto devastador. No voy a mencionar estadísticas que todos conocemos bien, pero el resultado del impacto fue un contexto y un escenario completamente nuevo, lo que hizo obligatorio una reflexión profunda, bueno, aquí no está, de la organización sobre la parte conceptual. Hicimos una reflexión profunda, una revisión conceptual, los resultados de las cuales se publicaron en abril del 2022 en el Lancet, y enseguida convocamos una reunión del Comité Estratégico Técnico que apoya la Iniciativa de Eliminación desde el principio. Es un comité de muy alto nivel y el comité brindó una serie de recomendaciones para la operacionalización de la Iniciativa de Eliminación. Luego llegó la nueva administración con todo el ímpetu, con todo el apoyo, siendo la iniciativa una prioridad de la nueva administración, y entonces pasamos al reposicionamiento. Aquí le voy a resumir un poco lo que implica este reposicionamiento y cómo la iniciativa está caminando. Primera etapa fue una revisión de la lista de los candidatos. Esa es parte de un proceso dinámico. Algunos candidatos a la eliminación salieron para no cumplir más con los requisitos y nuevos candidatos entraron. Le llamo la atención sobre la meningitis bacteriana epidémica, que ha entrado en la lista, también gracias al respaldo de una campaña global de eliminación promovida por la OMS. Aquí estaba la diapositiva mal posicionada. Segunda etapa del reposicionamiento en la fase postpandémica es que, ya lo vieron, la iniciativa tiene una nueva identidad visual que se resume un poco en el 30 más o 30 plus, que es un poco la síntesis del horizonte temporal de la iniciativa 2030, totalmente alineado con todos los marcos y las iniciativas de salud global, y también con el número de candidatos a la eliminación para esta fecha, que son más que 30. Tenemos varios productos de divulgación, ya acaban de ver el video, tenemos un brochure, se revisaron también contenidos para profundizar un poco la visibilidad en social media, y los invito a visitar la página web dedicada que también ha sido renovada. Una de las áreas de gran enfoque es la colaboración interdepartamental, y sin duda la iniciativa de eliminación entra de mérito completo en el tema de la atención primaria en salud. Departamento de Fortalecimiento del Sistema de Salud dispone de varias herramientas. Quiero señalar la herramienta, el marco operacional global, que se presentó en la conferencia histórica de Astana en 2018 y que ha sido adaptado tomando en cuenta varias experiencias que salen de la iniciativa de eliminación en sus fases iniciales a lo largo de los tantos años. Quiero señalar la experiencia de integración de VIH, ITS en salud y atención prenatal, lo que ha implicado los varios logros en la eliminación de la transmisión madre-hijo, pero quiero también señalar la fuerte sinergia y la integración de servicios de Chagas y servicios de enfermedades desatendidas conjuntamente a inmunizaciones, lo que es del VPH y de la eliminación del cáncer cervical con ITS, con salud reproductiva y mucho más. Con estas experiencias se adaptó este marco global al contexto regional y también se ha desarrollado una caja de herramientas que resume un poco el estado del arte de las guías y de todos los documentos de referencia que la OPS comparte con los países miembros, bajo el principio y la prioridad de las 3 Is, que son en tema de inversión, en tema de innovación y en tema de implementación flexible, con un ojo y una mirada al nivel subnacional, incluso municipalidades, distritos, etc. Otro punto de avance interesante es el tema de la innovación. Y aquí tenemos, como lo mencionó el doctor Barbosa, un nuevo departamento que cuida todo el área de la innovación y que, en el caso de la iniciativa de eliminación, corresponde a 3 ejes principales. Uno es la evolución de los sistemas, de los modelos de servicio, y mucho basado en la experiencia que se acumuló durante la pandemia, con varios servicios implementados, sino que tal vez liderados por comunidades. Otro ejemplo es el autotest o la autotoma de muestras para diagnóstico de laboratorio. Y de manera más general, el tema de la salud digital y de la telemedicina. Eje número 2 es el tema de la información estratégica y de la vigilancia, con toda la capacidad que va subiendo para una mejor integración y una interoperabilidad de sistemas basada en un uso masivo ahora del identificador único de salud. Y también quiero señalar la experiencia exitosa de la plataforma Multiplex, que permite una vigilancia serológica simultánea de un número bastante amplio de enfermedades transmisibles. Es una opción que está creciendo y que está generando mucha experiencia prometedora. Tercer eje del tema de innovación es el tema del laboratorio integrado y modernizado. Y ahí quiero señalar el trabajo que estamos haciendo con varios socios aquí en la sala hacia el desarrollo de una propuesta para un proyecto regional multipaís que pueda impulsar el nivel primario de atención, sobre todo en materia de point of care y la utilización de plataformas diagnósticas integradas. No quiero hablar mucho de los fondos rotatorios, que son un poco el brazo ejecutivo de toda esta innovación y toda esta disponibilidad, pero en todo lo que se refiere a disponibilidad de insumos, son 3 funciones principales. Santiago Cornejo va a hablar mucho más en detalle con ejemplos concretos. El tema de la accesibilidad a los insumos, a precios negociados y calidad garantizada. El tema de la cooperación técnica y de la promoción de la cadena de suministro y de la promoción de la innovación. Y el tema de la solidaridad, que muy fuerte entró durante la pandemia, gracias también a esta característica única del panamericanismo. Inevitable una pequeña referencia al tema de la equidad o de las inequidades y al tema de la vulnerabilidad y de las poblaciones en situación de vulnerabilidad, las más afectadas para doenças, las enfermedades transmisibles y mucho más. Aquí también tenemos un nuevo departamento recién establecido con la nueva administración, que es un poco el depositorio de toda la cultura de trabajo que se ha construido en OPS y en la región a lo largo de las décadas en tema de inequidad. Herramientas disponibles muy importantes son el Innovate, que es una herramienta global, también adaptada con la fuerte experiencia de la región, y también toda la plataforma para el diálogo intercultural, que es sumamente necesario cuando se discuten temas de salud con poblaciones que necesitan de una mediación cultural. Sin olvidar el tema de la crisis climática y de la cuestión ambiental, señalo como un par de candidatos en la lista de eliminación están exactamente referidos al tema de la salud ambiental. En tema de rendición de cuenta, tenemos un informe de progreso, el primer informe de progreso que será presentado mañana o el día después a la atención del Consejo Directivo. Acabamos de publicar un documento de guía para la recopilación de fichas de país que toman en cuenta toda la dimensión de las enfermedades eliminables en cada país. Y finalmente, un marco de monitoreo que se suma a la medición de los progresos individuales de cada enfermedad para dar una idea de los progresos con indicadores de proximidad. Y quiero reconocer el trabajo conjunto con la Task Force aquí presente, representada en el desarrollo de este marco muy innovador y muy interesante. Y finalmente quiero concluir con una pequeña mirada a cómo irá caminando la iniciativa en los próximos pasos. Queremos continuar con este trabajo de abogacía porque queremos movilizar, queremos generar un compromiso político de alto nivel que es indispensable para poder avanzar. Queremos seguir impulsando un partenariado público, una colaboración público-privado, con un ojo muy fuerte y una atención muy fuerte sobre lo que es de la participación de sociedad civil y redes de sociedad civil en la región, muy bien equipadas, pero todavía no alineadas a esta mirada más inclusiva. Tema de la formación, de la capacitación, sobre todo utilizando los centros colaboradores y el campo virtual, que ha sido una presencia muy fuerte y robusta durante toda la fase pandémica. Diálogo con países campeones en la región. Hay varios países y lo vamos a escuchar en un momento en el panel ministerial. Hay muchos países que están caminando muy fuerte en esta dirección y vamos a continuar este diálogo. Tenemos también una línea de trabajo que implica visitas de país con misiones integradas y tenemos algunos países que ya están marcados para recibir esta visita. Y finalmente el tema del partenariado con movilización de recursos técnicos y financieros que también son altamente necesarios. Les agradezco de su atención y los dejo con la visualización de la nueva identidad visual. Muchas gracias.
Thank you, Massimo, for telling us about the way forward and the details about how to take the elimination initiative in the future, in the next several years. Remember, 2030 is just 7 years from now, so we need to continue pushing forward. And reminding us about partnership, and I mentioned some of the partners, but there are others present, like Carter Center, the UN Foundation, the M Fund, they're all here. So showing their interest and the commitment to work with us and with the countries, in support of the countries, because at the end of the day, the credit is the countries. They are the one eliminating diseases. So important that this is a team effort. And now, talking about the countries, let's hear from the countries. They are the main actor here. So we are around the table, and we are in the main course, which is our ministers and representatives from the countries. Let me just introduce Dr. Fernanda Dockhorn from the National TB Program of the Ministry of Health of Brazil. Dr. Rob Dotcom is presenting, did I say it right, Dotcom? Yeah, is representing the Honorable Minister, Nícia Trindade, that couldn't be with us. Dr. Fernanda, please, the micro is yours.
Thank you. Obrigada. Então, agradeço à OPS, o diretor Dr. Jarbas, por esse convite para mostrar a experiência do Brasil. E estou muito honrada de estar aqui representando o Ministério da Saúde, em nome da nossa ministra, que não pôde estar presente. Então, vou falar um pouco do CIEDES, que é um comitê interministerial para a eliminação da tuberculose e de outras doenças determinadas socialmente. O CIEDES foi uma iniciativa do governo, do nosso presidente. Ele fez um decreto presidencial em abril desse ano, com 9 ministérios, incluindo o Ministério da Saúde, focando em algumas doenças que são determinadas socialmente e também perpetuadoras da pobreza. O CIEDES ele é composto por vários ministérios e organizado pelo Ministério da Saúde. Então, nós temos todo o apoio da Casa Civil para organizar esse processo de trabalho focado em ações intersetoriais, com uma participação forte da sociedade civil. Ele vai ser focado em algumas doenças que eu vou mostrar os detalhes na frente. Apesar de termos somente 9 ministérios, alguns ministérios também foram convidados a participar do CIEDES em estratégias específicas, como o Ministério da Mulher, do Meio Ambiente, os das cidades. Então, a ideia é ter ações intersetoriais fortes para a proteção social, saneamento do meio e várias outras iniciativas específicas para a eliminação das doenças. Ele está diretamente relacionado à Agenda 2030, do ODS, do terceiro, que é a eliminação das epidemias de AIDS, tuberculose, malária e outras doenças tropicais negligenciadas. E quais determinantes sociais nós vamos bater? Então, o que são determinantes sociais? Então, são doenças determinadas socialmente que são diretamente ligadas às condições de vida, de saúde, de saneamento básico, da próprio acesso à alimentação, da nutrição, educação adequada e acesso a serviços de saúde. Então, todas essas doenças serão intersetorialmente trabalhadas com grandes ministérios. A nossa prioridade, para além da tuberculose, também é a hanseníase, o HIV, tem a malária, a estossomose, todas as doenças de transmissão vertical, como Chagas, HIV, a sífilis e hepatites. Então, estamos em conjunto com um grupo delas, já previstas a sua eliminação até 2030, e a hanseníase, a tuberculose e o HIV, com metas pactuadas pela OMS e pelo ODS. A tuberculose, então, é o nosso objetivo e meta eliminar até 2030 com menos de 10 casos por 100 mil habitantes. Da hanseníase, menos de 1 caso por 10 mil habitantes. E o HIV é a Agenda 95-95-95. O CIEDES é relativamente recente, ele foi criado em abril. Então, de abril para cá, foram elencadas várias reuniões com os pontos focais de cada ministério. A gente sempre fala que o CIEDES ele tem endereço, ele tem nome, e a gente sabe onde ele vai atuar, porque ele não está em todos os municípios do Brasil. Ele está relacionado diretamente à carga dessas doenças, e a gente vai trabalhar diretamente com esses locais. Então, foram feitas várias reuniões, criando um grupo de trabalho e um plano de trabalho elaborado com cada um desses ministérios. Alguns ministérios estão participando de todos, como o Ministério do Desenvolvimento Social, que tem relação com a proteção social, que está diretamente ligada a todas essas doenças, mas outros ministérios envolvidos em temas pontuais, como da igualdade racial, para iniquidades, para combate ao racismo institucional, aos direitos humanos, como o dos povos indígenas, para trabalho diretamente indígenas aldeados, que é uma população muito específica e que tem grande dificuldade de acesso a serviços de saúde, o Ministério da Justiça, com ações diretas nos presídios, que tem também certas dificuldades em relação ao acesso a serviços de saúde, prevenção e tratamento de doenças. Então, vocês devem imaginar como é insano trabalhar com 9 ministérios, 14 doenças durante esse período, mas o plano de trabalho está sendo concretizado e é uma prioridade do governo. Então, nós estamos trabalhando para além do setor saúde. É lógico que o Ministério da Saúde tem todas as suas responsabilidades, todo o trabalho conjunto entre vigilância, Secretaria de Ciência e Tecnologia, Secretaria de Atenção Primária à Saúde. O CIEDES veio focar na intersetorialidade. Então, é trabalho em pesquisa e inovação com o Ministério da Ciência e Tecnologia. É o combate à LGBTfobia, combate ao racismo estrutural, é equidade para os povos indígenas e originários, trabalho específico com populações privadas de liberdade, incorporação de novas tecnologias, seja de diagnóstico, de tratamento, para ter acesso mais fácil a essa população, é educação, seja educação sexual e reprodutiva, para diminuir, né, a transmissão das ISTs e do próprio HIV, mas também mudança de currículos para que as doenças não sejam negligenciadas nas universidades. Trabalho com as populações de vulnerabilidades específicas, como a população de situação de rua, que apesar de numericamente não ser a mais volumosa, mas com certeza uma população de difícil trabalho, difícil acesso, na redução de danos e no diagnóstico precoce e oportuno das doenças. Então, o CIEDES veio trabalhar a desigualdade social, a pobreza e as iniquidades no país. Obrigada.
Muito obrigado, doutora Fernanda. Muy agradecido. And you saw it, a presidential decree from President Lula bringing all the sectors. So this is what is political commitment. Committed to eliminate 14 diseases or more in Brazil. And let us not forget that the World Health Assembly brought us a resolution on indigenous population that was steered by Brazil also, because many of the indigenous and people living in situations of vulnerability are the ones dealing with many of these diseases. So thank you very much. Now, it is my pleasure to introduce the Honorable Sir Molwyn Joseph, Minister of Health, Wellness and Environment, Antigua and Barbuda. Minister Joseph will tell us about how his country is accelerating actions for the elimination of cervical cancer. Minister, pleasure to have you.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Let me first of all express my appreciation for Dr. Barbosa's leadership on this issue. Extremely important issue facing the Americas. Acceleration actions for the elimination of cervical cancer, the Antigua and Barbuda experience. The data show that in Antigua and Barbuda, cervical cancer is the second most cancer and the third leading cause of death from cancer in women. Most of the women diagnosed with cervical cancer in 2016 to 2021 had advanced stage disease. We are aware that cervical cancer is preventable and curable through 3 steps. 1, HPV vaccine, 2, cervical screening, and 3, early identification and treatment of precancerous disease and early-stage cervical cancer. Accordingly, the Ministry of Health in Antigua and Barbuda decided to implement the WHO's global strategy to eliminate cervical cancer as a public health problem. Antigua and Barbuda established a National Cervical Cancer Task Force to oversee the implementation of the WHO strategy for the elimination of cervical cancer through the achievement of the following targets by 2030. These targets are 90% of girls fully vaccinated with HPV vaccine by age 15 years. 2, 70% of women are screened with a high-performance test by 35 years of age and again by 45 years of age. And 3, 90% of women identified with cervical disease receive treatment. In terms of vaccination, in 2018, HPV vaccination was introduced in the National Immunization Program. It was voluntary and available through clinics. Vaccines were procured through the PAHO Revolving Fund. The quadrivalent HPV vaccine, Gardasil, was introduced with a primary target population of boys and girls aged 9 through 14. Robust and intense public health sensitization with stakeholders was done prior to its introduction. 13.5% of girls in the primary age group received at least one dose between 2018 and 2021. 88% of this vaccination occurred between 2018 and 2019 prior to the COVID-19 pandemic. I should state that vaccine hesitancy due to the COVID-19 pandemic significantly impacted uptake. Let us look at screening. Up to June 2021, less than 50% of eligible women aged 21 to 65 in Antigua and Barbuda were being screened, with only about 13% of pap smears being done in the primary healthcare system. Only 13%. Accordingly, in June 2021, the Ministry of Health of Antigua and Barbuda requested technical assistance to introduce and implement HPV testing in the country to align itself with the second pillar of the elimination strategy. To provide such assistance, PAHO formally partnered with Basic Health International, BHI, and let me take the opportunity to commend them for their effectiveness in Antigua and Barbuda, a non-state actor with experience in HPV test implementation in the region, to develop and deliver training based on PAHO WHO guidance on introducing HPV testing in cervical cancer screening programs and provide technical support for the cervical cancer screening pilot implementation. In September 2021, Antigua and Barbuda requested support to procure and provide approximately 1,500 HPV tests, as well as consumables and a gene expert machine to support the introduction of this screening technology. PAHO was able to fulfill the request, and with the support of BHI, delivered a training program to start the implementation of HPV screening. The training program focused on planning, implementation, and monitoring and scaling for the cervical cancer screening program. The training involved healthcare workers, laboratory staff, and health services managers. More than 100 persons were trained in 5 two-hour Zoom virtual sessions from March to May 2022. This training in Antigua and Barbuda, March to May 2022, was the first of its kind in the region to apply the PAHO WHO guidance documents to initiate HPV testing in a national screening program. Between September 2022 and January 2023, Antigua and Barbuda piloted HPV screening in the primary care system through designated health centers. 1,569 women were screened, superseding the 1,500 target. In May 2023, colposcopy training was requested to encourage a standardized approach to cervical pre-cancer care, which is a key component of the WHO third elimination objective. This training was a collaboration between PAHO, BHI, the International Gynecological Cancer Society, and the MD Anderson Cancer Center. Laboratory training on HPV testing quality assurance was also requested and done through PAHO with the support of Professor Alejandra Picconi, from the HPV LabNet in Argentina. The HPV pilot program saw a doubling of the number of women screened in the primary care system per year over a 4-month period. What were the findings from HPV pilot program? 21% high-risk HPV positivity rate. Let me repeat this. 21% high-risk HPV positive rate. This is similar to reports and research done in other Caribbean countries. And let me comment that as a minister, when I saw this report, I said, this is a frontier that we really had to confront. 5.6% cervical precancer rate for high-grade lesions. This was twofold higher than expected and was mainly due to a high prevalence of CIN2. This led to a 4-fold increase in colposcopy service demand. With a 6-month cutoff after screening, 69% of women were followed up and 67% of women with high-grade lesions were treated. At this point, I can tell you 59 women were protected from developing cervical cancer. Had it not been for the program, these women would not have been identified. There was a higher than expected rate of cervical cancer amongst women screened, with 4 women identified. 3 of the women had stage 1 cancer and were able to have surgery done locally. 1 woman was stage 2 and required chemoradiation for cure. 100% of the women with cancer were treated. What are the challenges? Insufficient HPV vaccination knowledge and awareness in society. HPV vaccine hesitancy. We did not use existing population databases to actively invite eligible women. Insufficient capacity and resources in cytology and colposcopy to meet the increased need. Insufficient quality assurance for histopathology services. We then now turn to the next steps. In Antigua and Barbuda, we see the development of a national strategy and guidelines based on the result of the HPV screening pilot project. This will include the development of systems to support monitoring and evaluation of the program, such as utilization of district health information systems. Scale up of HPV screening program with special emphasis on high-risk groups, such as women living with HIV. Development of programs geared towards increasing HPV vaccine uptake through community engagement and activities geared toward improving health literacy. Consider the use of single-dose HPV vaccination to increase uptake and ensure complete vaccination. Building capacity in health system through continuous training of healthcare workers, investment in technology that will strengthen health information systems and healthcare delivery. Establishment of a local gynecological oncology service. Ensure the sustainability of the cervical cancer elimination program through the continued procurement of HPV vaccines through the PAHO Revolving Fund and HPV tests through PAHO's Strategic Fund. My conclusions. The evidence is clear that when there are limited resources, the use of cost-effective intervention can have significant positive impact on health outcomes and inevitably reduce the burden of the healthcare system. Antigua and Barbuda has led the Caribbean region in being the first country to be part of the training based on the WHO's manual for the implementation of HPV testing, as well as becoming the first country procuring HPV tests through PAHO's Strategic Fund. These actions reflect the strong political will, commitment, and vision to lead the region towards the elimination of cervical cancer. We are confident Antigua and Barbuda will be the first country in the Caribbean region to reach the 90-70-90 goals to accelerate the elimination of cervical cancer as a public health problem. Antigua and Barbuda takes the opportunity to encourage us all to commit or have a renewed commitment to the call to action to eliminate cervical cancer as a global public health. And I say thank you, Dr. Barbosa, for your vision and at this very early stage of your tenure. Thank you to PAHO as well.
Well, you heard it, great progress, but challenges also, and next steps. So Antigua and Barbuda has it all. So, they are going to make it. Congratulations, Minister, because you're right. Excellent political commitment. So the partners, you heard that, and it is important to note that the job is not yet finished. So we need to continue working, furthering and supporting not only Antigua and Barbuda, but all the countries of the region, because cervical cancer can be eliminated. We can do it. Thank you, Minister, again. Ahora, tengo el tremendo placer de introducir a la honorable Karina Rando, ministra de Salud del Uruguay, quien nos va a hablar sobre otras enfermedades a eliminar, alcanzando las personas no vacunadas a través de herramientas digitales y de geolocation, en inglés. Yeah. Entonces, otra iniciativa innovadora que vamos a escuchar de la honorable ministra Rando. Señora ministra, el micrófono es suyo, por favor. Gracias.
Muchas gracias. Gracias a todos. Buenas tardes. Mi presentación es un poquito larga, o sea que les cuento que pueden solicitarla, porque algunas de las transparencias o las diapositivas las voy a pasar un poquito rápido, pero tenemos un archivo adjunto en Word que lo pueden explicar para aquellos que tengan interés en profundizar en esto. Lo que nosotros queremos transmitir es que el contar con una herramienta de geolocalización de un sistema de integrado de vacunas, de inmunización, puede permitir de alguna manera disminuir el contagio de las enfermedades transmisibles. Y eso es lo que voy a mostrar en esta presentación. El sistema informático de vacunas en Uruguay tiene como objetivo optimizar el Registro Nacional de Vacunas administradas en todo el territorio nacional. Para ello tiene fuentes de información diversas. La fuente principal de información es aquella base de datos de la Dirección Nacional de Identificación Civil que tiene registrados todos los habitantes del territorio nacional. Eso nos permite un acceso universal, es decir, en esta base de datos tendremos a todos los habitantes del país, universal. Tendremos el registro de todas las plataformas vacunales, vacunas del COVID, del plan anual de inmunización, y tiene además la ventaja de que permite un acceso a la historia clínica en cualquier punto del país, evitando los carnets de vacuna, esos que vienen, que uno da impreso y que se pierden habitualmente. Entonces tenemos la posibilidad de sacar el carnet de vacunas cualquier ciudadano del país de cualquiera de los puestos de vacunación. Y por supuesto el análisis estadístico que permite este tipo de sistemas. La aplicación se desarrolló en base al sistema Java, muy sencillo, y lo importante es que el 100% de los vacunatorios del país lo tienen implementado. Es decir, todo el país está cubierto e implementado este sistema, y esta base de datos la llenan, las cargan los vacunadores del país. Solamente quienes vacunan son quienes cargan esta base de datos. Esta base de datos está supervisada por la Comisión Honoraria de Lucha Antituberculosa, que es dependiente del Ministerio de Salud Pública. Acá está el marco legal para la protección de datos y la reserva de datos personales, y esta diapositiva es simplemente para mostrar que además del sistema informático de vacunas, de lo que registran los vacunadores, tenemos otras fuentes de datos de la cual también se toman algunos datos y podemos entonces estratificar las vacunas en lo que es el nivel de población geográfico, etario, otras comorbilidades, todo eso se pueden cruzar los datos. Y por lo tanto sirve también como suministro de datos para otras bases de datos y para otros sistemas de información. Voy a poner solo como ejemplo el que ven ahí abajo, la aplicación coronavirus.ui. Del sistema informático de vacunas se pasan los datos a la aplicación coronavirus.ui y cada uno de nosotros en Uruguay tiene los datos de vacuna de coronavirus en nuestro celular, gracias a este sistema de georreferenciación. La identificación de las brechas de cobertura en cada localidad nos van a permitir la toma de decisiones sanitarias basadas en datos y en tiempo real, porque tenemos una optimización de la planificación de vacunas en todo el territorio. Podemos identificar qué parte del territorio no está cubierto correctamente con vacunas y potenciar los esfuerzos en esa área del territorio donde las vacunas no han llegado todavía, donde hay una incidencia de vacunación menor que en el resto. Y acá tenemos 3 ejemplos por los que voy a ir a transitar rápidamente, pero para que tengan idea de cómo funciona este sistema. Uno es el alcance de la cobertura comunitaria frente al SARS-CoV-2, que fue la primera vez que se usó este sistema de georreferenciación para ubicar las zonas del país en los que había menos cobertura. La segunda fue la zona de baja cobertura vacunal del sistema de inmunización ampliado de vacunación, que eso se hizo a través de la selección de una vacuna, que es la triple viral. Ahora vamos a ver cómo lo hicimos. Y lo tercero es la cobertura vacunal georreferenciada frente al virus, a la vacuna del virus HPV. Inicialmente, la georreferenciación de la cobertura con COVID-19 en el periodo entre julio y diciembre del 2021, cuando se vio que había una disociación entre lo que era la curva de vacunación, que es la curva que ven hacia arriba, y el número de casos de COVID, se quiso entender a ver si había algún área de la población que aún no estuviera vacunada. Lo que se hizo fue justamente georreferenciar a través de este sistema las áreas verdes. Los puntos verdes son los que tienen más del 80% de cobertura vacunal, más del 70%, y se identificaron los puntos amarillos y los puntos rojos en los cuales tenemos una cobertura vacunal menor. Los esfuerzos a través de los directores departamentales de salud, que son el Ministerio de Salud Pública en territorio. Uruguay se divide en 19 territorios, cada uno tiene su director departamental. Cada director departamental, cuando tenía puntos rojos, organizaba una campaña de vacunación pueblo a pueblo para ir a vacunar específicamente los pueblos con puntos rojos. Bueno, y aquí tienen que además se puede estratificar por primera, segunda, tercera, cuarta o quinta dosis. El segundo ejemplo es la cobertura vacunal del Plan Anual de Inmunizaciones. Acá elegimos una de las vacunas, acá están representadas todas las vacunas que se han dado en los años 2018, 19, 20, 21 y 22. Y si se fijan, yo no sé si... Estaba funcionando bien. No, quería saber si se podía utilizar el puntero. Pero bueno, acá lo que se hizo fue, se decidió que la vacuna triple viral iba a ser la vacuna que iba a representar, porque es la más representativa y sensible de que el plan y el certificado de esquema de vacunación estuviera completo. Por lo tanto, se utiliza esa vacuna y esa vacuna se hace lo mismo, se hace una georreferenciación de la vacuna esa que es la más sensible para el plan anual de vacunación y se identifican los puntos rojos en los cuales la vacunación es menor del 80% de los niños menores de 5 años. De esa manera identificamos algunos lugares, por ejemplo, acá viene esta barra larga que se llama Canelones, es un área en la que hay muy baja vacunación. ¿Y qué se hace? Por un lado se referencian los vacunatorios, aquí es donde se administran las vacunas, y por otro lado se georreferencian los lugares en los de que la vacunación es muy baja. Cuando se conjugan esos dos mapas se puede ver si hay diferencias en cuanto, por ejemplo, al horario en el que está abierto el vacunatorio. Capaz que el horario no es el adecuado, capaz que no hay transporte adecuado. Se puede identificar cuál es la dificultad para ir a vacunar, teniendo las dos cosas, ¿no? Teniendo el vacunatorio y teniendo el porcentaje de vacunas. A partir de ahí se puede entonces diseñar un plan, y ¿qué es lo que se hizo? Se diseñó un plan para cubrir esas áreas del país que tenían menos cobertura de la triple viral, que en realidad es una visión de todo el resto del certificado de esquema de vacunación, y en el 2022 logramos elevar el nivel de vacunación a los estados prepandémicos. Y por último voy a mostrar el ejemplo de lo que se está haciendo actualmente, que es la georreferenciación del la vacuna contra el HPV para alcanzar los objetivos 90, 70, 90, y aquí vemos el verde es el departamento de los 19 que tiene mayor vacunación, los rojos oscuros son los que tienen menor vacunación, en este caso es primera y segunda dosis en mujeres, primera y segunda dosis en hombres, para ir a atacar nuevamente y vacunar a aquellos departamentos que más lo necesiten. Entonces, para concluir este proyecto, la georreferenciación de las vacunas permite dar más transparencia y confianza a la población acerca de lo que se está haciendo, lo hace público, permite a su vez la colaboración y la coordinación entre lo que es el gobierno central, el Ministerio de Salud Pública y los gobiernos departamentales para promover de manera local la vacunación en donde hace falta y evitar la transmisión de las enfermedades en esos lugares, la respuesta oportuna a las emergencias sanitarias, como sucedió con el COVID-19, que nos permitió actuar específicamente en aquellos lugares donde había poca vacunación para COVID-19, y estos datos obviamente son muy importantes para la toma de decisión de cualquier política de salud. Por eso nos parece que este sistema de información de vacuna georreferenciado es de vital importancia para el control de enfermedades transmisibles. Muchas gracias.
Excelente. Señora ministra, felicidades, felicitaciones. Es un ejemplo de una estrategia innovadora, porque no podemos esperar que vengan los no vacunados a nosotros. Vamos también a buscarlos, hay que encontrarlos. La proactividad para poder alcanzar lo que es la salud para todos, el bienestar para todos, la salud universal. Entonces, y el doctor ha venido hablando mucho de eso desde que llegó, de la necesidad de utilizar herramientas innovadoras como la de georreferenciación, que también se usan en filariasis linfática, para avanzar en los esfuerzos de eliminación. Muchas felicidades. Bueno, hemos escuchado de los países. Now it's time for some of the other actors. You know, we're going to hear about the revolving funds, the two funds, and we're going to hear from also, this is from the Executive Director of UNITAID, Philippe Duneton, who is here, and also from Ms. Magdalena Robert, Deputy Director, Program Advocacy and Communication from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. So these are short interventions. Let me start with our own Santiago Cornejo, who is the Executive Manager of the Regional Revolving Funds of the Pan American Health Organization. Santiago, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Marcos. As Dr. Barbosa mentioned at the beginning, the Revolving Fund for Access for Vaccines, as well as the Strategic Fund for Essential Medicines, are working together under the Regional Revolving Funds. Working together helps us to adapt better to country needs based on epidemiological and programmatic criteria, analyzing historical trends on performance and needs, and optimizing financial processes. Already, the Honorable Minister of Antigua and Barbuda talked about cervical cancer and the great example that it is of the benefit of the both funds working together. With our 4 goals in consideration, we will be looking for new approaches to overcome country and sub-regional needs like the Caribbean, providing technical cooperation in a holistic approach for cross-cutting issues such as supply chain and forecasting, and conveying a unifying message around regional solidarity and regional manufacturing. Massimo already talked about the benefits and the role of the regional revolving funds in the elimination agenda. One, very important, accessible portfolios. Our portfolios comprise of cost-effective interventions and products like vaccines and generics for hepatitis C and malaria, and HIV. Hard-to-acquire medicines like malaria medicines that are not found available in local markets. Also, we use pool procurement for more affordable prices, but also of great benefits for smaller quantity treatments, as well as new technologies that are available now in diagnostics, vaccines, and treatment. But our pool procurement, our portfolio is based also on a foundation of mutual support. It's the technical cooperation of the Pan American Health Organization, as well as us facilitating horizontal cooperation of countries to share lessons learned as well as best practices. Also, we have a donation program for Chagas, for NFX, that is only acquired through this donation program, as well as an emergency stockpile in the Pajo warehouse that allow us to provide access for malaria and pediatric antiretrovirals, TB, and HIV diagnosis in low quantities in emergencies. All of this to help for the prevention agenda that will create great savings in the future. Now, we have many examples, but I would like to focus only on two due to the time of the benefits of the regional revolving funds. Let me talk about hepatitis C. We have been working with a few member states to reduce the price of generics of hepatitis C. And we see here the generic fixed dose combination being reduced from $9,000 to $72. Plus $1 for the diagnosis. This is an over 90% reduction that we have been able to accomplish together. But also we have been working with other member states where due to patents cannot use generics. And also you can see the benefit of working together and a reduction from $7,800 to half of the cost of $3,400. We believe that this is a great opportunity for all member states to have access to hepatitis C treatment. Furthermore, if we work together and we consolidate additional demand, we can have further reduction in prices. Another example on HIV treatment. Also, this has been quite successful, what we have been able to do working with 25 member states to have strategic partnerships to consolidate global demand and improve access. And we can see how treatment has been reduced by the cost by 50%. Like treatment, we believe there is an opportunity to work together to consolidate your demand for diagnostic kits and tests like HIV self-testing. Let me finish. I only presented two examples, and there are many other examples. But what is more important is that there is a unique opportunity for our region to work together to create more success stories if we can consolidate through the funds your demand of key products on the elimination agenda. This is our call to action today. The regional revolving funds are ready to support you to provide technical cooperation from the beginning until the products arrive, for planning and characterization to ensure that your forecast is accurate and timely, and more important, to ensure quality products. We're also bringing innovations through our digital agenda, and we are leveraging technology for you to have access to information at the right time in order to make decisions, and you can always leverage our credit line to make access faster. Thank you very much, and I would like to invite you all to participate in our regional revolving funds to improve access together and to address disease elimination initiative together. And please visit our booth outside of the forum. Thank you.
Thank you, Santiago, and I challenge you to think about any other cheaper price for Hep C. There you go. And Minister Franke, who has been championing the strategic fund, said very eloquently at the COSOP meeting that these medicines are available through the strategic fund. So please, demand consolidation. It's important. Work with your strategic fund and your revolving fund for vaccines. Thank you. Now, without further ado, I'm pleased to introduce Philippe Duneton, good friend from Executive Director of Unitate. He's going to talk more about innovation and touch bases on Unitate portfolio and the way forward. Thank you very much for being here, Philippe.
Thank you, Marco. Thank you, Marco, Director Barbosa, Minister, dear colleagues and friends. Buenas tardes. Good afternoon. I'm really inspired to be with you today because what we do, innovation, and we talk about elimination, deserve political leadership. And I can see the political leadership of the director, of the minister, of the countries, and I think it's really needed, but I can see the moment after the COVID fatigue that now it's time to fight back, and I think that it's absolutely good. United is about the P, the political leadership, the product introduction, innovation, and scale up. It's about the people, and I think that the program of elimination, and we discussed with Dr. Barbosa, needs to focus on people-centered intervention. Vulnerable people are quite difficult to reach. And if you give them the right tool, in fact, they use it. And we have many examples for auto-test, self-collection, for example, for cervical cancer, that make a dramatic difference in terms of reaching the people in need. And it's really a lesson. We have many examples of that, and I'm sure our colleagues here have the same. I need to click somewhere. There. To make it very short, yes, United has an impact. We saw the impact through the, of course, the life aid and the public health, and it's more than, it's a typo, it's 200 million people that benefit from what we do in introduction of innovation. Money is important, of course, is 8 billion saving. We mentioned the importance of the price of the medicine and innovation. And of course, the time. What is important in innovation, it's the acceleration of the response. And we have measured that. And for the 3 diseases, HIV, TB, and malaria, in fact, innovation that we bring accelerate to reach the goal by more than 3 years, which I think it's a real benefit. I've learned a new terminology today, which is good, is PMTCTE. Is it correct? So it's what we call, on the other side of the Atlantic, triple elimination. As you know, it's absolutely key. One thing about elimination is not, as you know very well, a long list of disease. If you look at people, people have different challenges in health. And in fact, it's the consolidation. So I think behind the PMTCT plus or triple elimination, and we will launch a call in the coming weeks, it's really to take care of the woman and the child, not only for HIV, not only for hepatitis, but also for EST, in particular syphilis. This is really absolutely key in the agenda of elimination. We have some experience working with several countries here, in particular Brazil and others, in terms of Chagas, which is, as you know, a dimension also through the women's health. And we are also, dear colleague, very excited with the decision of Brazil for elimination of TB. We have a lot of tools that can contribute to that, but of course, tools without political will and right programmatic intention and implementation is nothing. Just to mention, it's a very busy slide, that we are really still focused on HIV, TB, malaria. You will have the slide. But really, more and more, we are focused on women and children. As I mentioned, the PMTCT plus intervention, and still a lot of you have fatigue of COVID-19, and I don't know if we are in a post-pandemic, pre-pandemic, or inter-pandemic, but yes, we are also involved in the response. Again, triple elimination is really something that we want to put on the agenda. I am really pleased and thrilled to see that on this agenda of elimination, we may have things to do in common. I think the presentation of our colleagues from the Strategic and Revolving Fund is really inspiring, because we have been quite cousins or brothers working together on several issues. And so I think that there are, if you look at the pipeline, some good technology, in particular in testing for simplification, that will be more affordable, even compared to GeneXpert, even if we have some progress in that way. But we need really a tool that is more simple multi-disease, and we had that kind of technology is coming, and we are looking for a negotiating of price. Anyway, accelerate progress will be really to look at the barriers that are in front of us, that are multiple, of course, but by experience, again, there is no barriers that cannot be overcome in terms of new innovation, in terms of price, in terms of quality. It's something that we have a track record to address. And again, I think that with that kind of vision and commitment you have in this region, I think it's very encouraging, and we're looking forward to work closely with you and, of course, our colleague from the Strategic Fund. Thank you.
Thank you, Philippe, and welcome to the Americas to further more the collaboration, not only for Chile and Brazil, but for other countries of the region. They are sitting here, so please feel free to talk to Philippe after we finish, and because I think the future is very bright for this initiative if we work together. Last but not least, we're going to hear from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, from Ms. Magdalena Robert, Deputy Director of Program Advocacy and Communications, Polio and Vaccine Delivery. And Magdalena will tell us about the commitment of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation on cervical cancer elimination. Magdalena, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Honorable ministers, colleagues, Director sorry. Is it working now? Honorable ministers, Director Barboso, amigos, colegas. En nombre de la Fundación Bill and Melinda Gates, es un placer estar aquí con ustedes. At the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, our mission is to create a world where every person has the opportunity to have a healthy life and a productive life. We do this by spurring innovation, by strengthening global cooperation, and working with local partners and governments to make sure that the innovations that we believe in actually reach people. We have been working very closely with WHO over many years, and our partnership is now several years old. And this is very representative of the importance that WHO plays in making sure that people have healthy lives and better futures. Our engagement of PAHO has been very targeted. And I'm happy to say that we were one of the early supporters for the Vaccine Revolving Fund that Santiago is now leading. We have also shown support in small and targeted health initiatives, and we hope that this partnership will continue. All of the diseases that we are discussing today and this week in DC are of critical importance, but I'd like to address one of them that requires our urgent attention. When we talk about eradication, you usually hear the Gates Foundation talk about polio. When it's about elimination, you also hear it talk about malaria. Today, I want to talk to you about our work on cervical cancer. We know the statistics. We know that globally, there are 340,000 cervical cancer deaths every year. 340,000. Making this one of the most common cancers among women worldwide. And 90% of the cervical cancer deaths happen in low and middle income countries. Unfortunately, Latin America and the Caribbean have the second highest cervical cancer incidence mortality after sub-Saharan Africa. This is, my friends, simply unacceptable. We have the tools to prevent, we have the tools to diagnose, we have the tools to treat cervical cancer. And when WHO member states have agreed that the global strategy in 2020 that calls for the acceleration and action of these three pillars, we need to make sure they are implemented and not just words. As the minister already shared with us, our targets are 90% of the girls need to be fully vaccinated, 70% of the women need to be screened, and 90% of the women should be pre-cancer are treated. That is 90, 70, 90. Unfortunately, the world, including the Americas, are not on track to meet the WHO cervical cancer elimination targets by 2030. But we've been here before, and we know that we can accelerate progress. And on the vaccination target, I am sorry to say that the average shows only 10% of the girls in low and middle income countries have access to this vaccine. 15 years ago, approximately, PAHO made the recommendation for 3 doses of this vaccine. Then it was 2 doses. And thank you to the writer. We now know we only need 1 dose. So please, please help us implement this. The one good thing is that PAHO is, as always, ahead of other regions when it comes to immunization, as well as your recommendations. So we know that 11 countries out of 47 countries, many of these in the Americas, nearly a quarter, have already committed to a single-dose schedule. Minister, congratulations for your plan in Antigua and Barbuda. Also, congratulations to Bolivia, Guatemala, Guyana, Jamaica, Mexico, Montserrat, Peru, Santa Lucia, Turks, and many of you that are going to be making the search. We also heard from the Minister of Colombia that soon they will be doing 1-dose vaccination for boys and girls today. So just letting you on the secret, but it's amazing. So we do want to make sure that we do not continue to have this inequity of issues. We want to ensure that HPV vaccination is an intervention that requires cross-sectoral collaboration among the immunization sector, the child health sector, the adolescent, HIV, cancer, sexual and reproductive health, and education. We believe that technical partners like WHO, like UNICEF, Gavi, Global Fund, Unity, many of those that we fund, are crucial in the fight against cervical cancer elimination. We cannot let another generation of girls not get this vaccine, or women have to struggle with this disease. We know that we have the tools, and therefore we have seen some exciting momentum on the fight against cervical cancer. At this year's World Health Assembly, there was a launch by health professionals and advocates around the world for a global declaration to eliminate cervical cancer. We have over 136 countries that have called for this, many thousands of people calling for action. And then let me just conclude to say that the Gates Foundation is fully committed to help low and middle income countries to build stronger, sustainable immunization programs on cervical cancer to ensure the HPV vaccine reaches girls who need them the most. We are working with country leaders, partners to accelerate progress and make sure other life-saving vaccines also reach those that need it the most. I am confident that working together we can do this, and I look forward to partnering with PAHO, with Unitate, Gavi, and other partners to host in the Americas a cervical cancer event in Q1 of 2024. Together we can do this, and I thank you very much for your support and partnership.
Thank you, Magdalena, and thank you to the Foundation for supporting PAHO and the countries of the America, and for that global event that is going to take place next year in Q1 in the region. So this is supposed to last until 2 o'clock, but we're going to get a few more minutes. I'm going to open 5 minutes only if there is any burning comment or intervention to make. And I see the Honorable Minister of Argentina. Please, if we can have it short and brief so we can have opportunity for 2 or 3 more. Thank you, Honorable Minister.
David. Muchísimas gracias. Brevísimo, celebrar esta iniciativa y después de escuchar todas las presentaciones, me parece que es esto que se decía, ¿no? Tenemos las herramientas, lo que hay que hacer es focalizar en el acceso y focalizar en el entre distintos sectores para que realmente esto se transforme en una realidad. El compromiso tiene que ser no solamente de los ministerios, tiene que trascender los ministerios de salud, tiene que tener compromiso político de otros ministerios, como sucedió en la pandemia, como sucede con el abordaje de salud mental, y tiene que estar centrado en las personas, las comunidades, la interculturalidad, y tiene que también tener un componente muy grande de comunicación, y tiene que abordarse el estigma y la discriminación en este tipo de enfermedades que muchas veces son una de las barreras al acceso. Así que felicitaciones y cuenten con Argentina y con esta ministra.
Thank you. Thank you, Minister. You know, I don't see more hands, but meaning that you were satisfied with all the interventions and the good prospects of advancing elimination of communicable diseases and related conditions in the Americas. So now we're going to go to the landmark finish, which is a recognition to a country that has been recently certified as eliminating malaria in our region, also has been certified for EMTCT, and we are expecting the final confirmation soon. So let me just pass the micro to Dr. Barbosa for the recognition of Belize.
Thank you, Marcos. Dear Honorable Minister Kevin Bernard. This certificate is a recognition of Belize's determination to eliminate the transmission of malaria. It's an honor for me to congratulate you again, your country, your government, the Ministry of Health and Wellness, and the National Vector Control Program for its leadership, determination, and the commitment to pursue and finally achieve the elimination of malaria. I must also extend my congratulations to the health personnel who for decades dedicated their work to eliminating this disease, and the community health workers, voluntary collaborators, and other actors engaged in the fight against malaria. This is an extraordinary achievement for Belize, and it will serve as inspiration for the other endemic countries in the Americas. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Dr. Barbosa, esteemed director, my colleagues on the head table, ministers. It is with immense pride and a deep sense of gratitude that I stand here before you today representing Belize as we receive this official certification from the WHO PAHO organization, declaring our beloved nation as malaria-free. This is a momentous day for Belize, a culmination of a long, hard-fought battle that spans almost 7 decades. Our journey began in 1957 with the global malaria eradication efforts. It was a daunting task, but the courage and resilience of our people and the dedication of our healthcare workers have been unwavering. From the peak of 10,411 cases in 1994, we have fought back with the last local case reported in December 2018, marking the end of this debilitating disease in our land. This achievement is testament to the strategic investments we have made, targeting vulnerable population groups and the unwavering support of our local and international partners. We are grateful to the Global Fund for supporting the elimination of malaria in Mesoamerica and the island of Hispaniola initiative in 2014, and the Inter-American Development Bank and other partners for initiating the Regional Malaria Elimination Initiative. The World Health Organization's inclusion of Belize in the E2020 initiative in 2017 provided us with the technical support and guidance we needed to eliminate the disease and prepare for certification. We have been guided by a robust strategy underpinned by strong surveillance systems, free diagnostic tests and supervised treatment, and effective vector control methods. Our fight did not stop with the elimination of malaria. We knew that the fight was far from over, and we had to prevent the re-establishment of the disease. The Ministry of Health and Wellness, with the support of the Pan American Health Organization and the Inter-American Development Bank developed the National Strategic Plan for the Prevention of Malaria Re-establishment 2023-2027. This plan builds on the success of our previous plan, focusing on strengthening diagnosis, treatment, investigation, and response. Even when faced with the global COVID pandemic, we did not falter. We integrated our vector control program with the COVID-19 surveillance system, introducing rapid diagnostic testing and vastly expanding our diagnostic network at the community level. This achievement is a testament to our commitment towards achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. We are proud to be contributing to Target 3.3, which calls for ending malaria worldwide by 2030. None of this would have been possible without the ongoing grassroots community support and our dedicated healthcare workers, the cornerstone of our success. I extend our deepest appreciation to the Pan American Health Organization, a long-standing technical partner, and the many entities involved in the regional malaria elimination effort, including the IADB, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the Carlos Slim Foundation, the U.S. Agency for International Development, and the Global Fund. Our success in eliminating malaria is a testament to the dedication of our healthcare workers and the resilience of our people. It is also a testament to the technical cooperation and financial contributions from all our partners. Malaria is preventable and treatable. Let us continue to strive towards the elimination of all vector-borne diseases. Together we can make a difference. Together we can create a healthier, safer world for all. I thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister. It can be done. There you go. You have the example. So this concludes the proceedings of this briefing. We thank you all, and we wish you good afternoon at the Directing Council, because you cannot go home yet. So thank you all. Thank you.